I've got a pan sitting in my sink right now. It's one of those non-stick pans you buy at the store for about $40. The coating is peeling off in sheets. The surface looks like someone took a fork to it. And if you try to cook an egg on it, you're going to have one hell of a time scraping it off. This pan is done, right? Most people would say yes, throw it away. But that's what they want you to think. Let me tell you something. There is a $2 trick that makes this pan look brand new. No scrubbing, no replacing, and the pan industry prays you never find out about it. I'm going to show you exactly what it is, why it works, and how to do it yourself at home with stuff you probably already have in your kitchen. This works, and I'm going to show you why. If you want more stuff like this, hit subscribe. I've got a lot more where this came from. Now, before I show you the trick, I need you to understand something. The comment section is going to be full of people asking how many pans they've thrown away. So let me ask you directly. How many non-stick pans have you tossed in the trash in the last 5 years because the coating gave out? 1? 2? Maybe more? Drop it in the comments. I want to know. Because the answer tells you everything about how the industry has been playing you. Here's the deal with non-stick pans. The coating is called PTFE, polytetrafluoroethylene, and it's the same stuff that's on Teflon. Now, the companies that make these pans, they know exactly how long that coating lasts. They have done the testing. They know that if you cook at high heat, use metal utensils, or wash it with the wrong soap, that coating breaks down in about 2 to 3 years. And they design the whole experience around that timeline. The pan is cheap enough that you don't think twice about replacing it. You spend $40, it lasts a few years, and then you go back and spend another $40. And they are perfectly fine with that. The pan companies do not want you to know that the coating on your nonstick pan can be restored. They do not want you to know that you can take a pan that looks completely destroyed and bring it back to like new condition for about $2 in an hour of your time. Because if you figure that out, you stop buying new pans. And that cuts into their revenue. It's that simple. This is not some conspiracy theory. It's just basic economics. They want you to replace the pan. They do not want you to fix it. So what destroys nonstick coating in the first place? Let me walk you through it, because if you do not understand what kills it, you are going to keep killing your pans no matter what you do. The number one culprit is heat. Specifically, heat above 500 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 260 Celsius. Now, I know a lot of people out there who crank up the burner as high as it goes, especially when they are searing meat or something like that. That heat is absolutely wrecking your nonstick coating. The PTFE starts to break down at around 500 degrees, and once it degrades, the coating begins to pit and lose its nonstick properties permanently. The second thing is metal utensils. I know a lot of people use metal spatulas on nonstick pans. I have seen it 1,000 times. Every time you scrape that metal across the surface, you are putting micro scratches into the coating. Those scratches do not seem like much at first, but over time they accumulate. And those scratches become places where food bonds to the pan, places where the coating starts to chip, places where the nonstick surface just disappears. Use wood or silicone. It is not hard. The third thing is dishwashers and the wrong soap. Dishwashers use high water pressure and harsh detergents that break down the coating over time. The high pH detergents used in most dishwasher pods are particularly rough on PTFE. Hand washing with a soft sponge and regular dish soap is going to extend the life of your pan by years compared to throwing it in the dishwasher after every use. I know people who put their non-stick pans in the dishwasher after every single meal, and then they are wondering why the coating is flaking off after 18 months. Now you know. So here's the situation. Your pan has been abused, the coating is failing, and most people would say it is time to go out and buy another one. But I am not most people, and neither are you, because you are here watching this video, which means you want to learn how to fix things instead of throwing them away. So let me show you the trick. The trick is flaxseed oil and heat. Now I know what you are thinking. Flaxseed oil? That stuff is expensive, right? Well, it is about $8 for a bottle at most grocery stores. But here's the thing. You only need about $2 worth per restoration. A little bit goes a very long way. And if you cannot find flaxseed oil, vegetable shortening works almost as well. But flaxseed oil is the gold standard for this because it polymerizes at a lower temperature and creates a harder, more durable surface. So stick with flaxseed oil if you can find it. If you cannot, vegetable shortening is your backup option. Here is what you are going to need. Flaxseed oil, a paper towel or a clean cloth, a soft brush for cleaning, baking soda for the initial cleaning, and your oven. That is it. No special equipment, no special ingredients. $2 and some patience. The process is straightforward, but it requires you to follow the steps in order and not skip anything, so pay attention. First, clean the pan thoroughly with a baking soda paste. You take about 2 tablespoons of baking soda and mix it with just enough water to make a thick paste. Then you take a soft brush, something like a nylon brush or even a soft sponge, and you scrub the entire surface of the pan with the baking soda paste. Do not use anything abrasive like steel wool or a rough scrub pad. You will damage the remaining coating. Just use the baking soda paste and a soft brush. This step is removing any residual oils, food particles, and surface contaminants that would prevent the new coating from bonding properly. Once you have scrubbed the whole pan, rinse it thoroughly with hot water. And I mean thoroughly. You want every trace of the baking soda paste gone. Then dry the pan completely with a clean towel. And I cannot stress this enough. The pan has to be completely dry before you move to the next step. Any moisture trapped under the oil layer is going to cause problems. So take your time, pat it dry, let it air dry for a few minutes if you need to. Now the critical step. You take your flaxseed oil and you apply a very thin coat to the entire surface of the pan. And I mean paper thin. Less is more here. If you apply too much oil, you are going to get a sticky, uneven finish that is going to smoke in the oven and cure improperly. So take a paper towel, put a small amount of oil on it, and wipe the surface down. You want a uniform, barely visible layer. The pan should look mostly dry with just a faint sheen to it. That is all you need. Once you have the oil applied, put the pan in the oven upside down. Upside down is important. You do not want any oil pooling in the bottom of the pan during the curing process. So upside down on the middle rack of your oven, set your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. That is 190 degrees Celsius for those of you using metric. Let the pan preheat with the oil on it and then bake for exactly 1 hour. Do not open the oven during this time. Do not check on it every 5 minutes, just let it cook. The heat is going to cause the flaxseed oil to polymerize, which means the oil molecules are going to bond together and form a hard plastic-like surface. That surface is what gives cast iron its non-stick properties when you season it, and it is exactly what we are doing here with your non-stick pan. We are creating a new polymer layer on top of whatever is left of the original coating. After 1 hour, turn off the oven and let the pan cool down inside the oven. Do not take it out and put it on the counter. Let it cool slowly in the oven. This is important because if you pull it out while it is still hot, you risk the new coating cracking or warping as it cools unevenly. Just turn off the oven, walk away, and let it sit until it is completely cool to the touch. That might take an hour, maybe 2. Do not rush it. Once the pan is cool, take it out and inspect the surface. You are looking for a smooth, semi-glossy finish. If the surface looks sticky or tacky, that means the oil was applied too thick. In that case, you need to wash the pan again with soap and water, dry it completely, and start over with a thinner coat of oil. If the surface looks smooth and dry with a slight sheen, you are in good shape. Now here is the key. 1 coat is not enough. You need to repeat this process 2 to 3 more times for the best results. So after the pan is cooled, you clean it again with the baking soda paste to remove any contaminants, rinse it, dry it completely, apply a thin coat of flaxseed oil, put it back in the oven upside down at 375 degrees for 1 hour, turn off the oven, let it cool completely, and then repeat. 3 coats total. That is the sweet spot for most pans. Some pans with heavier damage might need a 4th coat, but 3 will get you to a functional, almost new non-stick surface in most cases. Now let me explain why this works so you understand the science behind it instead of just following instructions like a robot. Flaxseed oil is unique among cooking oils because it has one of the highest concentrations of alpha-linolenic acid, which is an omega-3 fatty acid. When you heat this oil above 300 degrees, it undergoes a process called polymerization. The molecules in the oil start linking together in long chains, forming a hard, cross-linked polymer network. This is the same process that happens when you season a cast iron skillet or a carbon steel pan. The oil changes from a liquid to a solid plastic-like coating that is bonded to the metal surface. This new polymer layer fills in the micro scratches and pits in your existing non-stick coating. It creates a smooth, continuous surface that food cannot bond to. And because the polymer is bonded directly to the metal and to the remaining PTFE coating, it adheres very strongly. It is not just sitting on top like a chemical spray. It is chemically bonded to the surface. That is why it lasts. Now I want to be clear about something. This restoration is not going to give you a factory fresh, non-stick surface that performs like a brand new pan right out of the package. But it is going to make a heavily damaged pan functional again. And for a pan that you were about to throw away, that is a hell of a result. The coated surface will be smooth, food will not stick, and with proper care, that restoration can last another 2 to 3 years before you need to do it again. That is a lot better than buying a new $40 pan every couple of years. So after you have done the restoration, you need to follow some basic maintenance rules. Because if you go right back to cooking on high heat with metal utensils and running it through the dishwasher, you are going to destroy the new coating within a few months. So let me give you the rules. Rule number 1, never cook above medium heat. Medium heat on your stovetop is as high as you should ever go with a nonstick pan. That means no searing, no caramelizing at high temperatures, no cranking the burner to max. If you need high heat for a task, use a cast iron skillet instead. Reserve your nonstick pan for low to medium heat cooking. Eggs, pancakes, fish, vegetables, things like that. That is what nonstick pans are best for anyway. Rule number 2. Never use metal utensils. Wood, silicone, bamboo, anything that is not metal. Metal utensils will scratch through the polymer layer and start the damage cycle all over again. It takes 30 seconds to grab a silicone spatula instead of reaching for the metal one. There is no excuse. Rule number 3. Hand wash only. Never put your restored nonstick pan in the dishwasher. Use warm water, a soft sponge, and regular dish soap. That is all you need. If you have food that is stuck, let it soak for a few minutes and then wash it gently. Do not scrub hard. Do not use anything abrasive. Rule number 4. Let the pan cool before you wash it. Putting a hot nonstick pan under cold water can cause thermal shock and warp the surface or crack the coating. Just let it sit on the burner until it is cool enough to handle. It takes 5 minutes. Not a big deal. Follow those 4 rules and your restored pan will last for years. The industry designed these pans to fail in 2 to 3 years because they want you to buy new ones. But you do not have to play that game. You can fix it yourself for $2. And that is exactly what they do not want you to know. Now let me tell you about the industry angle one more time, because I think it is important to understand why this information is not more widely known. Nonstick cookware is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The companies that make these pans spend enormous amounts of money on marketing, on product design, and on making sure that when your pan fails, you blame yourself instead of the product. They want you to think that you did something wrong, that you must have used it wrong, that the pan just wore out naturally and it is time to buy a new one. They do not want you to know that the failure is often reversible, because if everyone who had a failing nonstick pan knew how to restore it, the replacement market would collapse. This is not unique to cookware. This is how most consumer products work. Printers that use proprietary ink cartridges that cost more to replace than the printer. Phones that are designed to slow down after 2 years so you want to upgrade. Coffee makers that have a limited lifespan built into the design. The modern consumer economy runs on the assumption that you will replace things frequently and never try to fix them. Most people just buy a new one, but you are different. You are here, and now you know how to fix it. I want to show you what the result looks like. After 3 coats of flaxseed oil cured at 375 degrees for 1 hour each, the surface of a pan that was peeling and sticking becomes smooth. Not perfectly smooth like a factory new nonstick surface, but smooth enough that an egg slides across it without any residue. Smooth enough that food does not bond to the metal. Smooth enough that you can use the pan for everyday cooking without frustration. And that is the whole point. We are not trying to make it look perfect. We are trying to make it functional. And it works. If you have a pan that has been sitting in your cabinet with the coating coming off, take it out. Do the restoration. You have nothing to lose except $2 and a couple of hours of your time. And you might be surprised by how well it comes back. I have done this on pans that people were ready to throw away, and they work like new after the restoration. Well, not exactly like new, but close enough that you will not be reaching for your cast iron every time you want to cook an egg. Now let me talk about flaxseed oil availability for a second. If you live in a larger city, you can probably find it at most grocery stores in the cooking oil section. It is usually near the olive oil and vegetable oil. If you cannot find it, as I mentioned before, vegetable shortening is a solid backup. Just follow the same process. Thin coat, 375 degrees, 1 hour, cool in oven, repeat 3 times. It works almost as well, and vegetable shortening is literally in every grocery store in the country, so no excuses there. If you want to get technical about the polymerization, you can look up the seasoning process for carbon steel and cast iron cookware. It is the same science, the same mechanism. And it has been used for centuries. This is not new technology. It is old technology that the cookware industry does not want you to use because it means you stop buying their products. Here's the bottom line. You are spending $40 every few years on non-stick pans because the industry wants you to. You do not have to. For about $2 and a couple of hours of your time, you can restore a pan that looks destroyed and make it functional again. And if you maintain it properly, that restored surface will last just as long as the original coating would have lasted. Maybe longer because now you know what destroys it and you are not going to do those things anymore. So take your old pans out of the cabinet, give them a second chance. You might never buy a non-stick pan again. If this video was useful to you, hit subscribe. And if you know someone who is about to throw away a non-stick pan because the coating is failing, send this video to them. They need to see this. Because most people will never know this trick exists. And that is exactly what the industry is counting on. I will see you in the next one.